Welcome back to Sorare Assist. Adam here, and I've got part 2 of the America end of season sale scouting for the Argentina and the Mexican leagues. And I'm going to be highlighting some more top targets today that you should consider for your SO5 squads. If you do like this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're not signed up to Sorare yet, there is a link in the description below if you did wish to do that. Okay then, so the end of season sale is now here, and today I'm going to be picking up the top budget targets in terms of price and quality for the SO5 scoring. Today I'm going to be picking players from the Mexican and Argentinian leagues. If you want early access to these videos, then join my Patreon or become a member of this YouTube channel by clicking that join button below. None of this content is financial advice, and always do your own research. Okay, let's get stuck in then. I'm going to be carrying on with the last defender, then I'm going to be going on to the midfielders and then the forwards. So the next defender I've gone for is Kevin McAllister of Argentina Juniors. He has an L15 of 48 and L40 of 53. In terms of his price at the moment, we're getting offers of around £186 for his rare card. And there's an auction recently as well for £244 on the 27th of April. Now, if we go back to the auctions around here, we've got the auction here where he sold for £442 on the 11th of February. The highest one around this time was on the 4th of Feb for £542. Also around here as well, there's this card sold for £302 on the 28th of Jan 2022. As you can see, these are all lower than the price of £244 here on the 27th of April, which is obviously very recently. So you're looking at a very good discount here, especially on this price here. And if we look at his scores, we can see some fantastic scores here. He's got 9 scores in the 60-70 range, 5 in the 70-80 range, and also 12 scores in the 50-60 range. He's also chipped in with a couple of 100 scores as well, and a 99 and a 97 score here. Looks like a very valuable option. It's available for around £14 at the minute on this limited, and £207 for his rare card. So midfielders then, the first one I've gone for is Esquil Barco of River Plate. He has an L15 of 60 and an L40 of 64. His limited is going for around 195 at the minute, and his rare is going for around 1076. But if we look at his price on the price graph here, back here is going for 1762, 1588 here, 1278 there. As you can see, his price has dropped recently, especially some of these auction prices here of 806 here, 888 here. That is obviously cheaper than these high points here, where he was going for around £1,500. He's only 23 as well, so still eligible for the under 23 division until July 2023. But it's looking cheap to me in terms of his price, especially when he was a bit more expensive around this period here. Next up, I've got Lionel Lopez of Pumas in the Mexican League. L15 of 52 and an L40 of 55. This guy generally looks cheap to me. His limited is going for £12, his rare is going for around £224. In terms of his price back here, there was an auction one here for £593. This was on the 25th of Feb. And also an auction here of £507. This is a lot cheaper than his current £224 price range. Someone recently picked him up on auction as well for £224. So this guy is looking definitely on the sale list and is going for around half price. He's also got some good scores as well, especially more recently, and he's one that was highlighted on my Patreon as well. He's got 7 scores in the 60-70 range, 7 scores in the 70-80 range, and also 2 scores in the 80-90 range. So he's looking very consistent and capable of those high numbers. Another midfielder that I like is Federico Manucello of Puebla in the Mexican League. An L15 of 50, L40 of 55. Limited at the moment is going for around £9.97, and his rare is going for around 156. Looking back here, his rare was going for around 399, 386, 319. As you can see, that's a huge saving on his current floor price of 156. He is 33 though, but he does have a contract till 2024. If we look at his scores, we can see some really appealing scores here. He's also got 8 scores in the 70-80 range, 7 in the 60-70, and also 3 scores in the 80-90 and 90-100 range. So it does look a pretty good bargain here to me for this cheap price. Next up we've got Fernando Corriaran of Santos Laguna in the Mexico League. L15 of 54 and L40 of 53. Limited at the moment is going for around £11 and his rare is going for around £212. If we look back here, an auction was going for £402. There was an auction here of £348. This was just in February. And recently someone snapped him up for £212 on the 4th of May. So someone's already doing their bargain shopping, judging by this graph. And if we look at his scores, he's going to reward you with some really good scores, especially some scores in the high ranges as well, especially in this period here where he got 300s in a short space of time. He's got 11 scores in the 60-70 range, 5 scores in the 70-80, and he's also got plenty of scores in the 80 to 100 range as well. It looks like a very viable option, especially if he can come back to a bit more consistent form, which he had during this period here, and he is only still 27. On to the forwards now then. The first one I've gone for is Julian Firth. Plays for Atlas in the Mexican League. He's 32. His limited at the moment is going for around 24 and his rare is going for around 303. But back here, just in February 2022, he was going for around 639. He's also won an auction here for 564 and 556 here in February as well. More recently, someone's done their bargain shopping already and picked him up for £303. Obviously with the next resumption of the Mexican League in mind. This is a huge saving on his price back here when people were snapping him up for 639. In terms of his scores then, he's got some really good scores, especially more recently where his price graph seems to be going upward. His score graph, seems to be going upward. He's got 16 scores in the 60 to 70 range, 10 scores in the 70 to 80 range. This is looking very good to me. Probably attributed to the amount of goals he scored. He scored 24 goals and 9 assists during all this data here. So he's looking very consistent and looking very cheap here for me for a forward. Number forward is Harold Placido of Santos Laguna. L15 of 49 and L40 of 52. So his limited card is going for around £20 and his rare card is going for 231 at the time of recording. If we look at his graph, now there's not much data to go off here, but back here it was selling an auction for £438. This was just on the 10th of April. Here it was selling for £426 on the 18th of April. More recently, someone has been on the end of season sale already and picked him up for £231. Now for a rare forward card, that's looking very cheap to me, especially compared to his price back here when someone was picking him up for almost double that price. Okay then, so scores wise, we can see some really good scores here, some really good 60s, plenty of 70s as well, and also some 80 scores. Really good scores there. The probably attributed is 24 goals, 9 assists in 58 starts. 16 scores in the 670 range and 9 scores in the 70-80, and he's also got 3 scores in the 80-90 range. So again, it's looking another one that's looking fairly cheap to me for an American forward. Number forward is Atlas's 25-year-old Julian Quinones. His limited is going for around 27 and his rare is going for around 315. That is the current floor price on the market as well at the time of recording. In terms of his price then, if we look back here, in January, 13th of January 2022, someone picked him up for £600 on auction. Here, £559 on the 5th of Jan for 500. Again, another auction purchase. Look at the most recent sale. This was £314 on the 6th of May. So this was a saving of this top end of around near to £300. So as you can see, his price is looking very appealing at the moment. And he's also got some really good scores as well. He's got 98 here as well, and 87 as well more recently. He's got 10 scores in the 60-70 range and 3 in the 70-80. And he's also got some scores between the 80 to 100 range as well. So again, he's looking at another one that's looking a really good bargain. So the final forward and the final player for this week's end of season sale video is Gabriel Avalos of Argentina Juniors. L15 of 62 and L14 of 51. His limited is going for around £54 at the moment and his rare is going for around 510. Now if we look at his graph, we can see here that it was a peak here of 692. There was some offers coming here for 550, 580, 627, 503 there. and at the moment is selling for a little bit cheaper than that, 534. So still a saving, but it's a guy that's recently come to form really. One that I did highlight on my Patreon as well recently, a few weeks back. So he's another good option. In terms of his scores, as you can see, he's got pretty consistent numbers. There was a period here where he was injured or something, but apart from that, he's been scoring really well recently, especially around this period here. And he's got 11 scores in the 670 range and 7 scores in the 70 to 80 range. He's also got 5 scores in the 80 to 90 range. So I think he's one that's looking pretty cheap. Even though his price has not come down that much, is still one that was worth highlighting. And he's still only 31 and has a contract until 2024 as well, I believe, with Argentina Juniors. So that was all the selections here for the end of season sale for the Argentinian and Mexican Leagues Part 2. There was Part 1 of course, so check back on the channel if you did miss that one to see the other players that are highlighted. So is any of these players that caught the eye? Then let me know in the comment section below. I will be doing more of these end of season sale videos over the next few weeks or so. So make sure you stick around on the channel. Coming up next, I've got some Holland players to highlight and also the Portuguese League as well. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and check out SorareAssist.com as well for more free Sorare content, where you can also pick up your free 100-page ultimate guide to Sorare ebook. You can also become a member of this YouTube channel by clicking that join button below. You'll get early access to scouting videos like this, and also you'll get early access on my Patreon as well, where you'll get weekly players scouting thrown in there as well for good measure. And of course, if you've not signed up to Sorare yet, what you're waiting for, there's a link in the description below to get yourself a free limited card and 13 common cards to start your collection. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.